Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're watching us from. It's Sunday, the 24th of April, 2022, and it's exactly 21:22. Many apologies for coming in a little bit late. We were just having technical problems from Zambia. Welcome to the Linda Banks show on TV Bakwetu, and I'm your host, Linda Banks. Now, this program is being broadcast on all our social media handles, as well as the Linda Banks Facebook page, TV Bakwetu page, on the YouTube page, as well as the Elias Munsha page. So please do feel free to invite your friends. Before I introduce my guests, can I just find out where you're watching us from? As in the place, the town, and the country. It's really nice to know where people are catching the program from. And as I mentioned earlier, if you feel so inclined, it would be absolutely lovely for you guys to share the broadcast to all your friends and family. Okay. And as the program is being transmitted, please feel free to send your questions and your comments. And do remember that it's perfectly legal for you guys to use the emojis that are literally on the comment section below. When you hear something interesting that one of our guests talks about, feel free to press that thumbs up or the love button. But if I only could ask for you to refrain from using the angry emoji, because I think it's a little bit rude. Okay, so I will try and say hi to as many people as I can, because I can see quite a few people joining in Texas. Clotilda, hello, nice to see you. Aaron C. Mwelwa from Mazabuka. Oh gosh, the comments are going very quickly. Ocean from Zambia, Matthews from Ndola, Chama from Choma, Kangwa Kasonde, good evening, nice to see you here. Chico Musokwe, Zambia, Livingstone, is it Clito? Irene, watching from South Africa. Mandy, watching from China. Australia is in the house. America's in the house. Nakonde, goodness gracious me. Irene Mwachinyana, hi, how are you? Nice to see you. Livingstone's in the house. Another one from South Africa. It's really lovely to have you. So please carry on just sharing the broadcast as we get started. Now then, I think it's safe to say that 2021 was a bit of a nightmarish year. The Patriotic Front was running amok under the former president, Edgar Chagwa Lungu, holding the entire nation at ransom. Cadres were harassing citizens. Marketeers were living in constant fear of losing their merchandise. The opposition were forbidden from holding rallies, appearing on national TV stations like ZNBC. It was nearly impossible for the opposition to, especially the opposition leaders, to conduct any peaceful radio interviews without being harassed. It was actually so awful that on one of the occasions, the opposition leader of the United Party for the UPND, who is now the now president of the Sovereign Republic of Zambia, His Excellency, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, and his team had to scamper in every direction when he was at a radio station. They had to escape through the roof of the radio station. So things were quite bad. And now fast forward to August, 12th of August. All of you went out, cast your votes. You were so excited. Some of you had to queue for long hours, but you still did that. Now, I want to implore you to just take a little moment to reflect. Think about where you were, what you were doing, how you felt when that announcement came that Hakainde Hichilema was your brand new president, considering what you had gone through. Think about the euphoria, the intense joy, the collective feeling of hope and pride that was restored to you when you endorsed the Hichilema and Nalumango administration. A few weeks after that thunderous mandate you gave the president, your president, our president, he came out and made a solemn promise to you, the people of Zambia, a promise that he was not going to be an absent father. He would speak to you through the press directly and indirectly. So he promised that he would speak to you face to face, and sometimes he would speak to you through the press. And so on Monday, the 25th of April at 10 o'clock, he has promised to speak to you again. His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zambia, will be addressing his citizens just as he had promised on that first inaugural speech. Then. So nothing unusual at all, just a man keeping his promises. Isn't it wonderful? Isn't it a wonderful thing to have a leader who actually keeps his promises? Now, the opposition wants you to believe that the president has been coerced into coming to speak to you through the press on Monday. In as much as would love to see him speak to us every day, it would be prudent to actually, it wouldn't be prudent for him to actually do that, because he'll be putting a lot of people out of their jobs. There are ministers at different ministries and people who are designated to be speaking to us. But every so often, it's within his jurisdiction to come and speak to us. So what is happening on Monday is nothing unusual. It's just a leader keeping his promise. So, there has been a lot of assertions about what has been happening in the country. Has 887 lost the plot? Has he lost the will to manage this country? The opposition have been talking about how he can't handle the pressure. He doesn't know what he's doing. Now, we're going to be dissecting that as well as many other topics. But I would like you guys to think about the fact that this is a leader who has brought so much development within the 8 months that he has been in power. The CDF funds have been taken back to the constituencies instead of constituencies going to the head office and lobbying for funds. Everything is in their hands. There's been a colossal amount of people who have been employed from the Ministry of Health, teachers about to be employed, free education has got within 8 months. So would you say that the president has lost the plot? I personally don't think so. But to help me discuss this topic and many other topics, my special guests tonight are Honorable Joseph Munsanje, Member of Parliament from Mbalala constituency, and Mr. Donald Chipenzi, a journalist and a human rights activist based in Zambia as well, and Nason Bimbe, a UK computer scientist as well as data specialist. Now, as we endeavor to provide you with excellent broadcasting through TV Bakwetu, it is and also in the interest of having a balanced conversation, balanced, credible, and concise conversation. We must say that it's important for us to have people from different parties. So we extended this program and our invitation to the opposition. And in this case, to be precise, we extended our invitation to Honorable Bowman Lusambo. But clearly, Honorable Lusambo is not here today. And my guess is he probably could not stomach the idea of being in the presence of other leaders. Perhaps he feels a bit more comfortable in his own space, you know, with the media team, that he can actually say things that he particularly wants, not in a controlled environment. But at least we did extend that invitation. And I'm going to add to the stream Honorable Joseph Munsanje. Welcome to TV Bakwetu.
Thank you so much, Linda. Good evening.
Good evening. So, Honorable Munsanje, I've read so many wonderful things about the work that you are doing in your constituency. And you were actually recommended to us by one of the viewers, because we've been asking viewers who we should invite. So you were one of the people who were recommended. Now, could you just tell us, as well as the audience, why you think you were recommended to us?
Thank you so much, Linda, and good evening, viewers. I'm glad actually to hear that I was recommended by the viewers to come on your show. I know that TV Bakwetu is a very popular TV in the country and globally, where many of us watch trending topics. And I do remember doing some reviews a number of days when I have to check what is going on. And indeed, during meeting Elias during the independence celebrations at State House, that was amazing, and it was great to be in touch. So I've been basically I'm a development specialist, and so my work as Member of Parliament has just added on in my development agenda. From way back, I've been working in the area of solving social problems, improving the quality of lives for our people. And so I just continued when I was elected by the good people of Mbalala constituency and adopted by the mighty United Party for National Development. I then continued with my humble work in the area of service and excellence, where I looked at the constituency as a program for me to contribute to the overall UPND agenda, which is basically outlined clearly in the UPND manifesto. And so I went in there, and we've done a draft strategic plan, and we've done a number of activities, basically in terms of planning the how the constituency is situated, what needs to be done in each ward, and then outlining a set of programs that we are doing in each ward, and now complemented by the CDF, the massive CDF that has come, is basically a game changer. It has allowed us to even dream bigger than we could imagine. And so we have also had to shift a bit of focus. So first of all, concentrate on ensuring that we strengthen our community knowledge and understanding of the CDF guidelines and the Act and the guidelines and the processes and procedures that apply to utilization of these funds, working with the Choma Council, which is my host council from Mbalala constituency, and working with all the leadership, the councillors, the mayor, the DC, and the provincial minister, and the permanent secretary, and the entire team in Southern Province. We've been working very hard to ensure that things get moving, and we are actually ahead of time right now in Mbalala constituency because we have completed the sensitizations. We have received most of the applications for secondary school scholarships as well as the bursaries. Right now we are doing corrections, and the first batch of those which have been corrected is on its way to Choma tomorrow morning for payment, so that it can be approved for payment to the schools, and the skills centers can also be paid. And then we focus on looking at the projects where we have already done 4 out of the 12 wards, as well as the Youth and Women Empowerment Fund, which we hope to complete in May so that we can complete the first batch. This is a revolutionary fund, and there are teething issues, definitely, because you can imagine under PF 1.6 million was received per year, and it never even got received. Right now, we are just about to spend the 2021 1.6 million. Now, this 1.6 million under the UPND New Dawn government is basically being given per month, because the 6 million plus which we are holding in the account is basically for 3 months. And so we have to the citizens have to be patient because there are teething issues. Everybody has to understand and learn the guidelines properly, and there's a lot of paperwork. We received the 484 boarding school scholarships. We received the 189 skills scholarships. We received the over 1,000 Youth and Women Empowerment Fund applications. So when you look, and then we've got about 500 applications for community empowerment projects or development projects. So it's a lot of paperwork when you look at the fact that there is always the attachments to be done. When an application is coming in, it's not just the application, it's coming with all these attachments in terms of, for example, death certificate, a letter from the headman to confirm that this person lives in this village, and all this and that. So the work is enormous, and we must commend the technical appraisal teams that are doing this job, including our constituent staff that are looking after all this information. We do hope that as everybody gets used to this process, and I commend the ministry for the orientations that have been done. We had an orientation of CDF committees. We had the orientation of the trainers, and this week we're having training of the ward development committees. So once everybody is fully trained, everybody understands the systems, even the communities understand what to do, then we can get going. For example, I had a call yesterday from another constituency in another province. Somebody called me and asked me, what is a constituency office? And I was like, a constituency office? And they said, yes, because I've seen in your write-ups you're saying people have to go to the constituency office. And I said, well, a constituency office is where you find your member of parliament, where your member of parliament works from. That's a constituency office. And you find staff there for the MP. If he is not there or she's not there, you find staff there who are going to help you with the information you need, all the forms and everything, they have them. So you can see that even as basic information, like a constituency office, we have to educate our people to know that this is the constituency office and this is the job it does, because previously it was never used. our constituencies offices were quiet. They were never being utilized for what they are being utilized for. Right now, my constituency office is a hive of activity. It's busy. My staff are working every day. They are working all the hours, and they are attending to the people, because there is always somebody who wants to find out something, and we're having programs to educate people and the like. So everything now is about all systems go. Every aspect of development is being touched. If you are not being touched in the education where you have free education, then you are being touched in another sector, maybe in health, where your brother or sister will be recruited as a health worker, or you're being touched again where your brother or sister will be recruited as a teacher. You're being touched through the Women Empowerment Fund, because every polling station is going to have at least one or two, three, four groups with a 40,000 kwacha startup capital for their business and the like. And then there is loans, which are going to also be given. And then there are educational scholarships for our young brothers and sisters that are in boarding school. And then there is skills training for even that grade 7 dropout who is in the village, who is a carpenter, who is a bricklayer, and like they can go and then and get a paper and come back and continue to do business. So there's going to be something for everybody. Already we launched it some 3 weeks ago, and we have given the people the new amounts of 300 for ordinary beneficiaries and 400 for persons with disabilities. And of course, we identified where there are problems. For example, those who may have duplicate NRCs. That's what we are seeing, because we are now using a new digitalized process. That new digitalized process is ensuring that where names and NRCs are the same, is detecting and is asking for verification as to which one. So we are making those corrections for the people who are affected. Last week I was in Mangunza ward. We did those corrections, and I got input from Smavi ward, and we are moving to other wards to ensure that we are working well. I'm working very well with our district social welfare officer, Mr. Ziambo. He's on top of things as we to get the work done. So we basically touching every life. Social cash transfer is touching the oldest in our communities, the poorest in our communities, the persons with disabilities, to ensure that they have got consistent income, which they can predict that every month I'll get a 400 kwacha. In this 400 kwacha for a person with a disability, they'll plan that I can get sugar, I can get cooking oil, I can get this and that, the basics, toothpaste and the like, and I'll be able to live to the next month. That way, it's predictable. They can plan. They can even plan to get a goat or two, and then be able to, get some goat milk and even add chickens and stuff like that, which will grow their base. So definitely, there is a lot of progress, and we are on course to revolutionize and change this country forever.
Fantastic. That is such wonderful news to hear. Now, Honorable, you mentioned the fact that you have faced some teething problems. Would you be kind enough to just outline a few of those?
Yeah, thank you so much. Definitely the teething problems, in as far as, for example, the Constituency Development Fund is concerned, is that the guidelines were a little bit delayed, and when they came out, I think somewhere in February, if I'm not mistaken. And when they came out, we had to then go to sensitize communities, but also to go into the trainings. So we had the first training for the council and other CDF and MPs, and then we had another training of trainers, and now we're having a training of ward development committees this week. Meanwhile, the funding, first of all, the schools opened in January, and they were entitled to the scholarship for those who are in boarding schools, and they are just closed. They just closed on Friday. So we basically owing the schools where we sent our children and gave them those assurances that indeed we'll pay these children now on the list and the like. So and then apart from that, the other fundings have been released. They are seated in the banks right now, and we still doing the process of training and finalizing the processes. So we are basically moving on both fronts, because where everything is done, it's being submitted to the minister, and the minister is working efficiently. I think you got Honorable Nkombo the other day. He said he received 40 applications, and within 30, 40 minutes he had approved them, and they were back. And so we getting efficient services from the minister. And so we do hope that everybody will understand the guidelines by the second year, next year, would have now understood the guidelines fully and implement them well. With this, of course, should even begin even with next quarter, so that the next quarter funding doesn't have and wait in our bank accounts, but can actually be spent immediately. It arrives, it finds we're already ahead in terms of planning, and the money can be spent quickly.
That is great to hear. And it sounds like you're getting all the supports that you need from Honorable Gary Nkombo, which is quite helpful, I believe, for you. There's a question or a statement actually from Davis Simbai. The MP's work can be used as a blueprint for the whole country. And the reason why I've highlighted this question, because I think Davis has just preempted my next question. I was going to say, if the president, or indeed the minister of local governments, was to ask you to help them kind of train other constituencies and use you as a blueprint, would you be up for that?
Yes, definitely. It's my country, so I'm willing to share my experiences and processes which we have done in Mbalala, because once we got first of all, we started working with the draft guidelines in December, just to ensure that people were alert. We were telling them this is a draft guideline, this is how it is, and the like. And once the real guidelines came out, we went flat out to sensitize the communities through radio and TV. We explained to everybody what was contained in full, and then we went on in every ward to explain what is contained. And we held a meeting with our councillors to also sensitize them together with the mayor. And then we have gone ahead to collect the forms and distribute them fully, and working with the council to make sure the adverts reaches every corner of the constituency, and give the forms be available with all the councillors, the ward development committees, and my constituency office, having all the forms that are required. And groups that need guidance are free to come to the constituency office every day, and my team is able to run them through the forms to ensure that they can fill them correctly. And when we're going around in the wards, we are always training and going through the forms with the various groups. Sometimes I'm just driving. The other week I was driving in the Mayovo area, and I see a group under a tree, and we stopped, and we went there, and we found it was a youth group, and they were saying, no, we're trying to understand these forms and the like, and say, okay, let's go. So we started going through with them, and we spent 2 hours with a group.
Wow.
At the end of the day, they were very excited that now they had gotten the best service. MP was there to help them complete their forms and the like. So we've been doing that kind of service, and we're glad that we can share to everybody around the country that we have progressed extremely well for us to get those applications in on time, in terms of all the secondary school applications, the skills applications, the ones for Youth and Women Empowerment Fund, as well as the ones for the projects that have all been received. And now it's just the technical evaluation that is on board, which we hope to complete. And then we submit everything, and there will be work everywhere in the constituency in the next 1 month or so.
Yeah. That's wonderful. Oswald says, following your good works in Mbalala. Now, I can't think for the love of God why I cannot pronounce this word. Could you just, how do you pronounce the name of your constituency, please?
Yeah, it's a typical word, which is basically pronounced as it is written. We used to do in primary school around grade 1, 2. We used to do the ba, baby, wo. We started with ba, baby, wo. So if you say ba, then the next one is ba. So
Mbalala. Mbalala.
Yes.
It's a Tonga name, isn't it? Mbalala.
Yes,
Does it
yes.
have
It's
any
actually,
meaning?
yeah, it comes from an animal. There is an animal which is called Mubabala. Yeah,
Mbabala.
basically, yes, Mubabala is basically comes from the fact that the animal has got it looks like an eland or an antelope, but with the lines.
Oh,
It's a
yes.
brown and with
Mba.
the white
Ah,
lines. Yeah.
yeah.
So those lines, white lines, is basically which means Mavala.
Mbabala.
You know,
And in Bemba,
like
it's Amavala. Do you know what? It's quite
yeah.
shameful because I'm half Lenje, and Lenje and Tonga is very close. I should know this.
Yes, yes,
That's
yes. So that's
lovely.
yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Now, I'm going to introduce another guest who is going to join us, Mr. Nason Bimbe, another B that is silent. Nason, good evening and welcome to TV Bakwet.
Good evening, Linda, and good evening, viewers. I'm very grateful to be on this great program.
Thank you so much. Could you just tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah. So, yeah, I'll just be very, very short. I'm basically, my background is in computer science and software engineering. But of course, for the past 15 years, I've been involved with what we used to call ICT for development, and which is now transformed as digital for development. So it's kind of figuring out how technology in terms of ICT and other technologies can be used in developing world. Of late, mostly I've been involved with digital information and knowledge systems, helping universities across Africa and Asia, including think tanks. I'm specialized now in library automation, scholarly publishing, and curation and dissemination of research. So really is working on the nexus between research and policy. I also specialize in technology enhanced learning systems. Yeah, so basically that's what I do at the moment.
Okay, lovely. Now, I think it's now time for us to get into the nitty-gritties of the show. So we have the president having a date with the press on Monday, and it's quite exciting. I have never come across so much speculation about a press conference. Now, I'm going to start with Honorable Munsanje. What do you think the president is going to touch on? What sort of things do you think he's going to touch on?
Yeah, thank you so much, Linda. Basically, in terms of what the anxiety and the like is, we're coming from the fact that as a country we never used to get these press conferences or briefings from the president. So it is basically now expected that people are so excited. You know, the love everybody has for Barry. You know, everybody is very excited to hear and listen to His Excellency, because we all love him and we all want to always hear more and more from him. You know, so it is no wonder that there is this euphoria of excitement globally to try and hear from what he's going to say. In terms of what he's going to say, basically, I mean, the president is exposed to a lot of information than all of us. So he receives all the information of what is going on globally, countrywide, and with each one of us. So he knows more than all of us, and he's got a team of experts, you know, who are working with him to synthesize this information. So the information he has is highly analyzed and the like. So we basically expecting to hear from him on a number of issues affecting the country, basically to continue to set the tone which he established when he took office. He took office and indicated that he was going to run a government of laws. So the rule of law is going to be number one in the country. And we have seen that he has walked the talk. He has lived according to his word to ensure that freedoms are guaranteed in the country. Not on.
It appears we've lost Honorable Munsanje. Nason, you can jump in. What do you think the president is going to be talking about?
Thank you, Linda. Yeah, it's a good question. I really don't want to read too much into it. I know.
Or shall I say, what would you like him to be discussing?
We love Mulomo. So
we do love Mulomo. Let's try and preempt it.
Having said that, I think there are important events that have happened.
Yeah.
And I would probably put it this way. I think the signals coming out of Washington, D.C. vis-a-vis IMF deal is a big one. This is big because everything the presidency has banked on as the basis for developing the country to make life easier for our citizens hinges on stabilizing the economy. And I think a lot of economists will say, yes, stabilizing the macroeconomic fundamentals are key to growing the economy, therefore bringing, opening up a lot of opportunities for our people. Of course, of late, there have been, complaints of increased cost of living for our people, which is global. And I think tackling the debt, as, we've seen now, getting the breakthrough with the IMF would help. And I think he will touch on that as well. Re-emphasizing on the fight against corruption and doubling down on it will be one, I think, area that he might be able to look at it. I know people want to rush to the Foreign Affairs Minister KCM debacles. I wouldn't consider those as really something to worry about right now as they are being tackled. Above all, I think it is just time and good for the president to meet the press so that he can talk to the people directly.
Yeah. You touched a little bit on the IMF and debt restructuring. Now there's been a lot of speculation in the public about the fact that it's stalled, there are some teething problems. Do you think he might touch on specifics on what is going on?
I think he will touch because everything is out in the open. When the British minister came to Zambia, she actually said it herself that the blocking was the Chinese not trying to play ball, and this had pressure on the Chinese to come on board, which has opened up, and we can see with the appreciation of the kwacha already. So the sentiments are there. So we are in the right track. And what is going to really bring about is, dismantling of the debt is going to free up the government with extra revenue, extra income, probably even, pay off some of the suppliers to government. Of course,
I think
due diligence will have to be done in order to pay those that genuinely supplied to the government. So there are a lot of good things that is going on. I mean, it's just the starting. So the process has started, I think.
Yeah, it's quite interesting you mentioned about the suppliers being paid, because that has been another major cry from the people, that there's no money in the circulation because no one is getting paid. But you voted for this president, and for a simple reason that you trusted how he managed his own affairs, and you trusted him with the country's purse, so to speak. So we have to trust the process. 8 months is very little time to actually put the house in order, so to speak. I think Zambians, we've got this tendency of the mother-in-law syndrome, where a young couple gets married, a couple of weeks later, and stuff like that. You have to trust the process and give the president some time. Okay, I'm going to bring in Mr. Chilufya, just so that he can give us his view on perhaps what the president might be touching on tomorrow. let's first of all start with what he might be touching on, and then move on to what you feel he probably should be touching on. Mr. Chilufya, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Mrs. Banks. Bimbe, good evening. Good to see you. Yeah, but what I think is I think Bimbe touched on an important thing, as obviously he's going to talk about IMF. It's one of the top on the agenda. And then obviously if nothing happens, then Zambia is going to default, which is not going to be good. I think it's next year. Yeah, which is not going to be good. And then obviously he's going to talk about you mentioned about the cost of living, the high cost of living. Because of fuel increases as a result of war as a result of war in Ukraine. Yeah. So obviously he's going to talk about that. And then the other thing I think is going to touch on also is I think I've mentioned about the issue of prices, and I think he's also going to touch about the issue of the DPP. Which I think, Dr. Honorable Haimbe has been talking about it now 3 times. Yeah, I think he's going to talk about that, and obviously, I also expect him to talk about the issue of we've got some noise behind.
It's fine. I think the Honorable is just trying to reconnect.
Yeah. So I also, Belinda, expect him to talk about the issue of the DPP. I think I think the president needs to tell the nation the truth, what's happening, because everybody wants to hear from the president, and is the one who has been implicated, because people are saying we thought UPND was going to be fighting corruption, so they're like a PF, but you know that the enemy, they're trying to, that's the perception the enemy is trying to create, and if the president talks about that, that will be very important. Another thing that I think I beg to differ with my brother, Honorable Joseph Munsanje, who is a friend of mine. We've known each other for a long time, even before he became an MP.
Okay. He seems to be having technical problems, Mr. Chilufya. I would ask you to hold your last thought.
So the other
Patrick.
Okay.
If you finish your last statement, then we can.
Okay, let me just finish. Yeah. So the other thing that I think I would love the president to talk about is the issue of Kakubo. Kakubo. A lot of people might think that's an easy thing. You can just brush it away. I think there's a lot of speculation about that, and there's a lot of questions to answer. Even myself, there's a lot of speculation. It might look like a simple thing, but and some perceptions have been created. So maybe the president needs to come out openly, and obviously Kakubo has spoken to the president, explained himself, what happened, how he found himself there, and if it was a coincidence, the Japanese delegation from the embassy were there, and all those speculations. I know the enemy is behind it, but the president needs to clear the air about that.
Lovely.
Issue.
Thank you very much. Honorable Munsanje, would you be able to unmute yourself? I think he's having serious technical issues. I will let you finish. If you're just flexible, Mr. Chilufya, I'll be taking you in and out as the Honorable comes in, if that's all right. You're currently muted.
About Kakubo's issue, I think to me that issue is not as
What would you like
That's-
him to say? What would you like the president to come out and say?
You
And
know,
why?
because there's a lot of speculation. Some people might say, what if he was set up? And then people are saying, okay, who goes and buys cement at the wholesale? Because every Zambian buys cement at a retail outlet, because at the factory,
But
it's a
things
wholesale.
happen.
That's the
It's
question.
choice,
The
isn't
question.
it?
And then other people are saying, was he buying cement at the retail price, or was he given a discount? And
Now,
then
do
other people are saying, okay, this man now has gone ahead and shown the people the private conversation he had on WhatsApp. Then why should he show? Then he should show us also the receipt of the cement. And then other people are saying, what if this man was set up by the PF? Because, how come somebody took the videos and the pictures, and then other people are saying the ambassador is not supposed to be there. The Chinese ambassador just arrived in the country after that incident. Who was that person driving the Chinese ambassador's vehicle, or from the embassy? So there were a lot of questions.
a lot of questions, yeah.
Yes, but yeah. So obviously, nobody is accusing Kakubo, that he has done something wrong. Not even myself. But the speculation that is there, some things look simple. You remember last time I mentioned about the issue in the UK? It was a simple issue that the Minister of Transport lied.
Yeah.
That he wasn't the one driving the
vehicle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
because let me just finish. So because he didn't want to lose the ticket, and people said it was a small thing, and then it became a big thing.
Yeah.
The Prime Minister himself had to come on the press and say, "Bane, I'm standing with my minister until the investigations are done." I think that's the way things, because Kakobo is in public, and when public issues like that happen, there has to be a solution. There has to be a resolution of that issue, and the president can help. The president can help to resolve that issue.
Thank you very much. Now, the question I was going to ask you whilst you were talking about that was, is it something, I'll pose this to Honorable Munsanje as well, is it something that we should get accustomed to if gossip and minor things take place? I know you're saying it's not a minor thing that the Minister of Foreign Affairs was caught in this kind of predicament, whether there was anything that was wrong with that situation or there wasn't, that we probably might not find out unless the minister himself tells us. Now, do you think it's something that we should expect the president to be resolving every so often? A minister is involved in a certain incident, the president has to always come and explain himself.
No, not really. But sometimes, like the issue of the minister lying in the UK, that was just lying. The minister is lying. But who came to support him? The prime minister.
This is the United Kingdom.
Okay, that's the United Kingdom. Yeah, but in Zambia, that issue should have been, that shows that. Are you hearing me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, in Zambia, that shows that there's some lapses in terms of communication, because that issue shouldn't have stayed for so long without somebody from government coming and explain to the people. People had to keep quiet. They waited for so long. And you know what? People believed what the propagandists are saying because nobody was coming in government to explain. Even the DPP thing. If Honorable Haimbe didn't come the other day, now he's been on press for 3 days. It has calmed down because somebody in government has come in and explained.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily the president to do that.
Yes.
The structures, there are structures in government to do that.
Exactly. So I think it would be prudent to say that there are people who are tasked with these
who are tasked to do that. What are they doing? Are they doing their job?
Yeah.
That's the question.
We can't
add on 2 points. with regards to the Foreign Affairs Minister, yeah, I think we need to step back and think. I don't think there is corruption in the country right now to the level that we were accustomed to previously. Of course, the incident is unfortunate. However, I think going forward, we need clear guidelines on the processes of how this can be handled better. I mean, for transparency's sake, I think the best what could have happened was either the minister could have reported himself to the Anti-Corruption Commission. I don't know what the rules are.
Okay.
And just, they investigate to clear him. Or Cabinet Office could have come on board, set up a review based on the guidelines to see whether a ministerial code was broken. And then from there, we can, if acting that quicker would avoid this or disinformation that goes on.
Yeah.
That's the way I view it. With regards to I think to the case of the DPP, this issue is in court at the moment. We cannot talk much. However, I think we also need to be able to discuss this thing from is the DPP doing the right thing? And I think coming from data, with data, we can actually quantify what a good DPP or a bad DPP has done. The Constitution doesn't tell us that the DPP, can say why they entered into a nollie. They can't do that, of course. They are not obliged to tell us. However, there is public information that we can use to determine that. For example, we can be collecting such information, like maybe the Law Association of Zambia or the universities, categorizing all the cases that each DPP, starting say from 1991, they've handled. What was the outcome of those, and then score them based on that. We can use that to gauge whether it is a good DPP. We can also use that same data to actually compare with other DPPs within the region. So that there is always something that we can do rather than just discussing being subjective and all the time. We can use a proper way of analyzing whether someone is effective or not.
Thank you very much. This is where you come in, Mr. Bimbe. Data, statistics, facts. Honorable Munsanje, I think I may just keep him on the side because he seems to be having serious technical problems, which is quite unfortunate. So when he comes back, I think I might just keep him on the side because for some bizarre reason, he doesn't like to be on the spotlight. I just wanted to mention the fact that he is so social media savvy because as soon as he came live on air, he was hooked up. I didn't even have to tell him where to go or what to do. So social media savvy that he's now live on his own page. Streaming through TV Bakweto. Honorable Munsanje, I was just talking about how I just noticed that you're live on your page. Well done.
Yeah, thank you so much. So we faced a challenge. We don't know what happened to our internet connectivity. It went down, but
can you hear us?
Yeah, so
Okay.
we can continue pushing it on.
Okay, lovely.
So I think there's a intermittent internet. It drops, it comes up, so we can continue.
Sure. And if it's any easier for you to just use your audio, if we lose the picture, just carry on.
We're also streaming live, yes, on our Facebook page.
I noticed that.
You can also catch us on the Honorable J.S. Munsanje Mbalala MP Facebook page. So we live there too. So TV Bakweto, here we go.
Yeah. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Now, I wanted to pose the same question to you that the gentlemen have just tackled.
And maybe...
And he's gone. Okay, Mr. Bimbe, I want you to talk about the big topic that has got everyone in a bit of a tease. All the opposition leaders are up in arms. I personally think it would be such a shame if the president spent a lot of time on this particular topic, whether he cut a deal with Milingo, because there's so many things that the party is doing, the president is doing, so many progressive things that are in the pipeline. So I feel it would be a shame to make tomorrow's press briefing about the Milingo deal. Honorable Munsanje, welcome back. So we just introduced the Milingo deal, and we were talking about the Minister of Foreign Affairs. What are your views on that, especially that he's your colleague? Do you think what he did was wrong? And if so, why? I know it's a bit tricky, putting you in a bit of an awkward position here, but you can just kind of skirt around the topic.
Basically, I think people overreacted to a normal situation by the Foreign Affairs Minister going about his business, doing his own thing, and he put a clear explanation that he had gone there for this to do his own business of purchasing cement, and he had engaged the Sonoma plant before that on that interest which he had to go and get his cement. So people are trying to basically find fault and read beyond. The minister has explained clearly, and there is no evidence whatsoever beyond what he has explained that shows that he did anything wrong or anything wrong happened there. So and there is nobody who has come up with extra information to prove him wrong. To say maybe he missed this information or that he didn't cover this part of information. Everything he said is according to what happened, and to me, we have much more pressing issues to deal with as a country. And the fact that we have allowed freedom of expression doesn't mean that we must try and stick around issues that may not bring value. We have to move on as a country and debate issues that are going to help this country. For example, the Constitution. Our Constitution was signed when people were drunk and were not in a sober state and the like, and it's got a number of lacunas which we should be debating as a country so that we can fix those lacunas and come up with a very good constitution that can set the best for this country going forward. So let's put our energy into developmental agendas. Let's put our energy into things that are going to benefit. We've got issues of increased HIV/AIDS in the country, which we need to be dealing with. We've got issues of girl and early child marriages in the country. A lot of our girls are dropping out of school. They are getting pregnant and all that. So we need to be talking about issues of comprehensive sexuality, education, sexual reproductive health rights, things that are going to change the lives, to remove about gender-based violence, issues of that nature. Those are the things which we should be focusing our minds to. Alcoholism, removing alcoholism in our communities so that our people can put their energy to work and to deliver for the country. So to me, I don't see, I don't want us to continue reading beyond what the minister put clearly, and there is nobody who has come to prove him wrong beyond what he explained. So as a country, let's learn to move on and focus on things that are going to change lives and improve the quality of lives.
Thank you very much. I think also we have been hurt so much by the previous regime, and as a country, as a people, we are overly suspicious, even on the minutest of things. Yes, he may not have followed the right procedure on carrying out his business. But we can draw a line in the sand and move on, focus on important matters of national development. And I think you're logged in twice, Honorable.
I'm trying to disconnect the iPad so that...
Okay, I can disconnect that for you if that's all right.
Okay. Yeah, let's use the computer first.
Okay.
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 I can just.
Would you like to turn the volume off on the other device for us, please?
That's all right.
Okay. Right. Now let's move on to the topic that we just started talking about just before Honorable Munsanje came in, the deal with Milingo. That's another topic that has really kind of made rounds. The opposition are going to town with it. We can't really know what actually transpired. Again, as we were saying, it would be a shame for the president to spend an awful lot of time talking about this. Perhaps just a general explanation. And I'm guessing that because the case is in the courts of law, he might just not get into too much detail. Now, it's important to note that as a brand new president, he is within his right to find out what the state of affairs is when it comes to people who've been given the mandate to look after national assets. What are your views on this one, Honorable Munsanje?
Come again, Linda, a little bit, just a bit louder. I didn't get.
Okay. We were talking about the case with Milingo.
Yes.
Yeah. So what are your views on that? What do you think the president might tell us, or what should he tell us? What information will be?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much. Definitely, the president might touch that issue, given that it's a constitutional issue, which again the Justice Minister really cleared the other day. He addressed it adequately when he mentioned exactly what was government position on that issue. From the government point of view, the Justice Minister was able to put the position clear that from the government point of view, there is no such deal and there is nobody who met him. So definitely, I think the president will just be re-emphasizing that message, because that message comes from cabinet, and the cabinet is about collective responsibility. So the minister was on course, and the president is just most likely going to, of course, re-emphasize that message. But also maybe he may add a bit more, like I mentioned earlier, that the president is more privileged than all of us as citizens. He gets much more information, and this information is analyzed, and so he will be able to give a much more clear position. And since he's the last man, basically what he says will be final.
Yeah,
and
it's also important
will have to move on from that position.
Honorable, it's also important to know that there are certain things that certain pieces of information that the president might be in the privileged position of knowing, but it may not be in the national interest for us to know about it. So perhaps he could just say that that's the case instead of getting into too much detail about the whole thing.
Yes, the fact that part of this case is in the Constitutional Court and the like, so the president with his legal team will definitely be careful not to deal with things that are in court, but he will be able to say the things that he's allowed to say by law. And I think the beauty of it is that he's the final man over all these matters in the country. And so what he's going to tell us as a nation is going to bring about finality to the issue, and then the country can move on. So there should be no arguments beyond what the president is going to tell the nation, because that is exactly where the country stands. And the president is doing everything he does is in the best interest of our country. You know, he's a very honest man, a very dedicated person who wants to see the best for this country. And so he's doing everything possible to ensure that the country moves to the best levels. So what he's going to be talking about within the rule of law is to ensure that laws are upheld and the Constitution is upheld, and we continue to live in a country that respects the laws and is able to ensure guarantee freedoms to each and every citizen. And this is what he has consistently demonstrated in his life and in his presidency. His presidency has shown us that he can basically live with the words which he has uttered in the area of constitutional democracy to ensure that everybody is able to participate freely and is able to associate freely, and everybody is getting the bail and all that, which they never used to get. You know, in the outgoing regime, people would deliberately be arrested on a Friday or a Thursday, and they will not come out until the following week on a Monday or Tuesday. That's when they will come out. Then they would have at least been punished, you know, injustice, you know, in terms of being punished by the state. And the president said no to this, and we have seen all these people who are, you know, criminals and noisemakers enjoying this freedom of, you know, being questioned, arrested, and they don't even enter the cells. You know, bail is arranged, and then they go and sleep at home. You know, so the president is a man who is upholding rule of law and ensuring that people enjoy their freedoms, and that's what he is going to be basically emphasizing going forward. That he doesn't want to see any regeneration. He wants the laws to be respected, and he has respected the office of the DPP, and he has never interfered with that office, and so the office continues to enjoy its constitutional democracy and doing what it's meant to do.
Okay. Thank you very much. Now, I want you to consider legal implications. Let's say, God forbid, this party that, you know, have, say, a recording or some incriminating evidence in regards to this situation. What are the legal implications for the president and his team? Because there has been a few conflicting statements that were given by the presidential spokesperson, who asserted the fact that a meeting did not take place. And then we had Honorable Bimbe come out and gave another statement. Then there was another statement on the president's Facebook page that was interesting phrased, because it didn't leave any kind of wiggle room if there was any evidence that was provided contrary to what had been put on his Facebook page, to say there was no deal that was cut, there was no meeting that took place. So my question is, what could be the legal implications for the president if this came to light? Honorable.
Yeah, thanks. Basically, I think these are just issues of semantics, in that several people, when they speak, maybe they'll use different English words for. So what we have been receiving and sort of interpreting differently is basically people, each one using their English, you know, to try and explain the same situation, just like I'm trying to explain with my own English. So it's in that context. Otherwise, there is nothing very big about this matter in terms of legal implications, because these offices are constitutional offices which are established by the Constitution of the Republic of Zambia, and the actions of the DPP are guided by the Constitution, and the office of the Attorney General and the rest is also guided by the same constitution of the Republic of Zambia. And so far, there is nobody who has been found to have violated the constitution, which means there are no implications whatsoever up until if somebody can prove that this one has violated the constitution. So, and as far as we are concerned as a country right now, everything is on course. There is no.
Mr. Chilufya, your view on the alleged deal cutting?
Linda,
Yeah.
can I just
Linda.
add one thing? Can I just add one thing?
I'll give you an opportunity, Mr. Bimbe, after Mr. Chilufya.
Yeah, Linda, from what I've heard, Honorable Haimbe was on TV1 just before this program started. Do you know that?
Okay.
Yeah, he was with what's the name of the guy on Grivasho, yeah. So Honorable Ahimbe, one thing he has categorically denied is that the president met Milingo. And Anthony Bwacha has categorically denied that. And Honorable Haimbe twice now, I think 3 times now. Yeah. So, and then 2, nobody has denied that Machila and other people met Mr. Milingo. Nobody has said categorically. Yeah. And then everybody has said the president never gave this guy immunity. And I do agree, because according to our constitution, nobody can be given immunity against prosecution unless except the president. There's nowhere in our constitution. So I don't think the president with the legal advisors would have done that. Okay. But the implications, Valinda, just before Bimbe comes in, the question is, and this is what nobody has denied. Did Machila and other guys meet this guy? What did they discuss? And then the thing is, how come this guy is so confident that he met some people? What if he recorded some conversation? Yeah. What's going to happen? We're saying he recorded the conversation with the president, but nobody has denied that Machila met this guy.
But what would be wrong in
there's nothing wrong.
meeting?
There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong, because the president has got representatives. Yeah. And Machila is one person who works closely to the president. Yeah. And this guy was managing one of the strategic assets of the country. So if they met, the discussion must have been in the best interest of the country. How are we going to resolve this matter? Because we need to move on.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bimbe.
Thank you, Linda. Before I talk about the Milingo deal, I think I take what Honorable Munsanje talked about regarding the Foreign Affairs Minister, but I would like to differ a little bit. Sure. I think, in my view, if we take the broken window theory, the theory that was deployed in New York crime, which says that a small crime, a broken window, if it's fixed quickly, stops everything being spiraled. So it's like if someone throws garbage near a bin, it's not picked up, other people throw. Before you realize it, it will be a mountain of garbage. Okay. I think to just brush it aside, I think is doing a disservice. It needs to be resolved by a third party. The minister just issuing a statement on Facebook, I can understand, I get that. That's a private matter. However, the minister is an officer of the government.
Okay, so to draw a line in the sand, what do you think should happen? To draw a line in the sand.
Independent review of what really happened to clear the minister would suffice. That's my view. I'm not saying he's guilty or not, but it's just having those standards set so that things don't spiral out of control. Because remember, this is what the PF used to say. Oh, don't worry, this is a small thing. We shouldn't, but we can't do that. Coming to the Milingo issue, I mean, I'm not a legal person and the matter is in court, of course. What I don't really, understand is why the PF are in the forefront talking about the issue that is already in court. The allegations of meeting wherever, it's in an affidavit. And an affidavit has to go to court to be validated. So we can wait for that. However, what I can see from what has been happening is the PF trying to create a narrative, knowing that a lot of people in Zambia, we are short-termists. We forget easily. They want us to forget the 10 years of misrule. They want us to erase that. We cannot allow that. What I want is for them to be able to come back and, defend their record. That way, we can move forward. We cannot just erase that. The matter is court. And the other thing is, why are they not talking about how that so lucrative contract was given? 5%, then 10%. Who signed that? Who was in the know? Why did they create a situation where the liquidator cannot be removed easily? What was the motivation behind it?
Exactly. Those are the questions that
we should be talking about, not who met what, who met who. Yes, that matter is in the affidavit. We don't know whether the contents of that affidavit is true or not. It has to be subjected to the court. So that is probably what my view is. So I wouldn't really want to dwell too much on that until the court gets. In fact, even the president shouldn't even really dwell too much about it. It's the non-starter.
That is correct. Absolutely. Now, I want to implore the minister on and try and get his view on the current situation in the country, security situation. Obviously, after the UPND came into power, there hasn't been no cadarisms. The marketeers are working all right. No one harassing them, taking money off them. And the security of the country, it's been quite peaceful, so to speak. And despite having said that, on the same token, I would say there's been a couple of isolated incidents of kidnapping. So some of these crimes that Zambia is not really accustomed to. And it's been reported that there's been a lot of immigration, and some people are pinning that on immigration, people who are coming in from other countries and are working with local people in these kidnapping cases. Now, what do you think should be the solution? And then I also want you to think about what happened at Intercity the other day with Honorable Gary Nkombo. That's for you, Mr. Munsanje. Is he still with us, Honorable? Have we lost him? Mr. Chilufya, would you like to take those two? The incident at Intercity with Honorable Nkombo, first of all with the youths, and then the reaction by Honorable Nkombo. Do you think the reaction was correct? I think the minister is back. Sorry about Patrick.
I think it's best he answers that one.
Yeah. Honorable Munsanje, are you able to hear us?
He's muted.
Okay. Oh, there he is. Could you unmute yourself, sir, please?
I'm muted.
Aha, fantastic. Okay. Yes.
I think
Did you hear
now
the question?
You have unmuted me.
Yes. Did you hear the question?
I think the question was to do with the security situation in the country.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
What is going on? Why the sudden surge in kidnappings? So this is a crime that really is very unusual to Zambia.
Yeah, it's just like we saw in the past with the gassing. I think we saw, first of all, we had the burning of markets, if you remember correctly, which went on, a market this side burns, a market this side burns, another market this side burns. There is, then we moved on to the gassing situation where, people were being gassed this side, that side. So that we can actually tell that there is a group of criminals somewhere that sits down to plan these things. They plan to destabilize the country, and they come up with these schemes where they are going to take advantage of certain situations, especially that now we have allowed freedoms to people, we have reduced roadblocks and the like. So some of these criminals are taking advantage. It could be political-based criminals, or it could be real lifetime criminals sitting somewhere and planning some of these things. And I'm sure the security wings are almost there in terms of getting to know
are they equal
these
to the
groups
task,
as to who is responsible.
Are they equal to the task?
Come again?
Are they equal to the task, the security wings?
Yes, definitely. Definitely, our security wings should be equal to the task, because the criminals are communicating. They're using various communication channels. So we have Zicta and the Zambia police who are able to track some of the conversations and where they are doing it from and the like. And then we also have, of course, the public. As a society, we are the biggest police, because we can inform, a number of our citizens know what is going on in their neighborhood. So they can inform the security wings about what is going on in their neighborhood. And that way we are improving the policing situation in our neighborhood. If you see something going on wrong, one must be able to report and get the police to act. So definitely, in my language, we say that, if a case doesn't finish, then it will surprise everybody. So definitely, it will be identified, and we should be able to get to the bottom of who is doing the kidnapping and related crimes. But you're trying to ask something, I couldn't hear.
I'm just highlighting a statement by Lukwando, who said, I expect the president to talk about the following: DPP, Milingo conundrum, tribalism, Nakachinda, IMF progress, cabinet reshuffle. So he's preempted my next point. We're going to have a look at whether the president is going to change positions, people from one ministry to the next, whether that's going to happen. The fight against corruption, what else did he say? Outlook on the economy, political situation in the country, youth, women empowerment, investment prospects, etc. Now, let's move on to Lukwando's point, actually, about the reshuffles. Do you think there's going to be any heads that are going to roll? I have seen the famous white gloves. The famous white gloves have been doing the social media rounds. And usually when those gloves come out, you know that 887 is up to no good. Do you think, are there going to be any heads that are going to roll, Mr. Chilufya? Or should there be any heads that roll?
I think that's a good one. I think, to me, 8 months, 9 months is enough for the president to reshuffle.
Okay.
And honestly, for me, then overall, a lot of ministers and government civil servants appointed by the president are doing well, but something is wrong somewhere. There are some people who are not helping the president, and I cannot say that here. Yeah, but I feel like information. All those issues of people, people who are supposed to disseminate information, respond to issues like the issues that have been happening. They should have been resolved. Somebody should have come in and not firefighting. the way things are done. It's like there's no coordination. Somewhere there's something wrong. And 8 months, 9 months, I think it's enough for the president to reshuffle. I'm not saying he should fire people, but now obviously the president has never worked with so many people. So many people are appointed. Now I think 8 months, 9 months, he should know these people and maybe do some reshuffles, and so that the government works for the people.
Thank you very much. Nason, heads should roll. You are muted.
Yeah, that's the prerogative of the president. But I mean, from where I stand, I think there need to be a recalibration. There need to be a restructuring somehow. In my mind, having seen this, having seen other government, I feel the core concept of a chief government spokesperson is a fallacy. It doesn't work. The reason I say this is because a lot of issues are based on, different ministries, different portfolios. And it's up to those persons in charge to be able to talk about that thing. Of course, there could be other cross-cutting issues that need to be tackled. Those could be handled by joint press conferences by the line ministries or even the quasi-government entities. So I would probably scrap the Ministry of Broadcasting and Communication.
Oh, that's radical.
All those functions, exactly, because most of these functions that are there actually can fit within the Arts Ministry, the Infrastructure Ministry, and the Science and Technology Ministry. We don't need that ministry, really, in this day and age. Because if you talk about broadcasting information, it's cross-cutting. It is cross-cutting. It has to be embedded. All what they can do is embed specialist policy, policy guys who can disseminate that information within each ministries and coordinate it somewhere. So we don't need that. At the moment, what does it do? Look after ZMBC? We don't need that. We just need the commission. We've got the broadcast. They can set up an agency that can look at all those kind of areas. That's one thing.
Thank you very much.
With regard to high crime rate, I want to say I've got two minds on this one. It's either because of the use of social media, there is so much information about crime. Maybe we have this perception that crime has gone up. I would love to understand the data from past crimes and that kind of thing so that we can really discuss this thing properly. Going forward, I feel the police training needs to be changed into the modern world. The police need to be given tools. The other thing is the whole e-crime and suppose that kind of thing, I think needs to be moved out of ZICTA. For me, ZICTA has to be a regulator, not an investigating wing. They can create a specialized e-crime department within the police, give them the tools, give them the training. Digitalization is key to this kind of thing. Intelligence-based policing. We don't need to see all these police with camouflage in vans for what? Policing nowadays, it's intelligence-based. I think they can do well on that.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, I want us to have a quick look at the guest we were supposed to be having earlier. Now, it's looking at some of the comments and the things that have been taking place, obviously, on social media, assertions that have been flying around that the Honorable is on the run. Now, everyone is now up in arms. I think it's true, he's on the run. Mr. Chilufya, Is Bamwisho on the run?
Oh, Mulo Monomboy Bana Banks. I don't know. But from what surprises me is the other day I was listening to just before Honorable Haimbe's press statement. The anti-corruption was had also a press statement, and according to them, they're saying they've asked him to go there, and they've asked his lawyers, and he hasn't gone there. He hasn't shown himself there. So whether he's on the run, I don't know. But something is amiss. Something is wrong somewhere. That's the only thing I can say for now.
Okay, thank you very much. Honorable Munsanje, should heads roll tomorrow? And if so, why? And which heads should roll? He really is having... Oh, he's back. Yeah. Should heads roll tomorrow? And if so, why? And which particular heads do you think should roll?
Basically, not really that should roll, but basically that I think the president...
He was about to give us some juice. Vazesko mentioned again. Vazesko, who's responsible for Zambian internet? So, Patrick, what do you think the Honorable was about to say? Let's speculate some.
I think what he was trying to say is heads should roll tomorrow. You know, those gloves should be used tomorrow. Those white ones. You know, yeah. But you know what I'm saying is, it's not that the government is not working or people are not working. It's just realignment, so that things are quickly done, properly done, and I think some energy in there, you know.
Yeah, and also, Mr. Shilufia, I think it probably feels really bad for the people who may be swapped. I would like to say that it's not the fact that they are horrible people or we do not like a particular person, but skill sets are just different. Perhaps you are in a ministry that just doesn't suit your skill sets, and it's absolutely fine for the president to move one person and move them to another ministry, another position, and we shouldn't actually if that did happen, I'm not sure if it will happen, but if anyone was moved tomorrow, or if the president is contemplating on moving anyone, I don't think we should put him in that position where he feels, if I move this person, that social media and the rest of the country is going to descend on them and embarrass them, laugh at them. I think that's not very objective. We should consider the fact that people are just differently gifted. So one person may work best in one ministry and not the other. And it's within, it's the president's prerogative to actually swap people around. So I thought I should just put that disclaimer. Now, Honorable, you were about to give us some interesting information.
Come again?
Are there going to be any heads that are going to be rolling? If so, why and which heads? Reshuffles. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Well, I think I'm just picking bits of what you are saying, but if I mean the president has got the prerogative to make decisions of what and how he can realign his team to perform better in all areas. That is the team which he has got direct control. But I think there is a lot that needs to happen also below the team that he direct manages. I think we have a number of issues that have constantly popped up at the next level, below the permanent secretaries. We've got directors who need to be acted on in the various line ministries. We've got other chief officers down there, in the various ministries. So it is at those levels where we also need to get the system going. So it's about aligning and streamlining everybody to understand the vision which the president is sharing and the vision of the UPND manifesto, and ensuring that we are all walking the talk and doing the correct thing with total dedication, and also within the ethics and the morals of the country, contributing clearly to the mandates of at various levels. So yes, people may want maybe to see certain actions happen, but in my view, I think the president is still basically trying to ensure that the team performs to the best of its ability. We know definitely that he's a giant. He's a very clever, knowledgeable person, and so he needs to be understood and learnt by many people who can, so that they can be able to deliver in the way he wants them to deliver. So let's see, just hope that he will continue to steer the ship in the right direction and get the results, both from my colleagues as well as those in the other arms of government that also need to deliver, because it's not only the cabinet, it's also the legislature, it's also the judiciary. The three play together to ensure that many things are happening. But of course, the bigger chunk of what we are trying to get working is in the various ministries where systems may be blocked in different manner or may not be reaching the people, and also where we need to flush out corrupt individuals in the various ministries. People who do wrong, they need to be flushed out at various levels of the ministry, and not just at the top. It's basically inside there in the ministries, coming down, where we need to be looking at.
Thank you very much. You just mentioned corruption there, which leads me quite nicely to my next question. Do you think there's corruption within the House, within the President's House? I nearly said the White House, State House. This is diaspora syndrome, isn't it? Is there corruption as it's propagated around the president? Honorable
Yeah,
Munsanje,
though I haven't heard the question clearly, but from what I can hear about the question on corruption, basically, we do have petty corruption of.
And we have lost him again. So I will pass that on to the Honorable Minister is back. I'm really grateful that you are very persistent, despite the system chucking you out, and you're back, literally. I'm so grateful. Thank you so much. So we were talking about corruption. Is there corruption within the inner circle of the president? Because there has been all these stories that are coming up. And if so, which elements?
Basically, our society is hungry for scandal because we got used to scandal, so when there is nothing coming, people start cooking and start seeing a fly being an elephant and the like. So what is happening is that there is no proven corrupt or corruption case that has happened at State House or with any of the officials and the like. What we have is instead innuendos by certain individuals, certain noisemakers who are basically making noise, innuendos and the like. They are not even allegations. We have not even received allegations, So what we are having are innuendos, which means that we have to. It shows that as New Dawn government, we are definitely fighting corruption with bare knuckles and the like. All the corrupt people have been reported to Anti-Corruption Commission, and they have appeared there. They have been charged that side, and they have their dates in court. All the corrupt people, and so those others are just innuendos which have no substance. As you know, an innuendo is is somebody's position or thought at that particular point. And
but
so
there's
far,
also no smoke without fire, Honorable.
sometimes we actually have some smoke which people create a fire on when there is actually it's not supposed to be a fire. And this is what we are talking about, where people want to get used to scandal, and they think even the new Dawn government will have scandal. And the new Dawn government is a clean government. There is no allegation that has been reported to the Anti-Corruption Commission, which is the public agency that deals with corruption. If ACC was receiving reports to say this and person has done this, then we would be saying, well, all right, let's hear and see how this one goes out. But we haven't had these allegations. What we are having is only innuendos. So at the end of the day, what we have to do now is to continue to mold the country into the morals and values of national building, where people start believing in their government, they start believing in their people who are leading, and they start, supporting the government of the day to ensure that the government delivers. Okay. What we are dealing with are assisting issues. For example, if we are going to say we don't want e-voucher, for example, in Southern Province, because it was a corruption instrument where people, farmers' money was being stolen by all those people who are running e-voucher systems and the like. And we want direct system, the direct FISIP that is applied elsewhere, which the new Dawn brought to Southern Province, so that our farmers could also get 6 bags of fertilizer and 2 seed. That's basically what we want,
Thank you very much, Honorable. Thank you. Yeah. You have Mr. Nason Bimbe here, who's a statistics man. He's a data man, so he might be able to help with that sort of stuff. Do you have anything to add on that topic before we move on to the next one?
You mean myself?
What's the minister just talked about? Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, corruption within the House. It is an interesting one, but we have to remember that a lie, being pushed, so many times becomes the truth.
Yeah.
And as I said earlier, in Zambia, we like mulomo. So we like to talk about these things. So I would agree with the Honorable there. I don't think the corruption that we used to see is not there anymore.
Okay, that was nice and sweet and quick. Lovely. So, Mr. Chilufya, thank you.
Yeah, I think I do agree with both Honorable Munsanje and
that was nice and sweet.
Nason Bimbe, because I think it's perception.
Okay.
Yeah. There might be something else there, but not corruption. Maybe what I think needs to be they need to improve some coordination there in the office of the president. That's the only advice for me. But corruption. But Mrs. Banks, when you look at the corruption that was in the PF, like you remember the fire tenders.
Yeah.
You don't need to be a rocket scientist to know that a truck, and if a 2010 truck would cost $1 million. And then when we said there's corruption, we were called Mfwiti, or take the matter to the anti-corruption. Who was going to report the matter to anti-corruption that time? So,
okay.
Yeah, I think it's just
just a minute. Sorry, can I just make a disclaimer? If you're on the big screen, then it's your time, just so that for the sake of order. Yeah.
So again, I mean, it is a few individuals trying to propagate this idea of corruption. I think it's a calculated move to try and launder themselves to the Zambian people that, we are okay. Just forget about what happened. Just look at what is going on. I don't think anything that they've said, especially in the opposition, if I follow what they've been, they jump from one topic to the other. There is no thread of how the checks and balances should work. It's just anything small comes up is propagated. What has also made it worse is this idea of trying to summarize something that cannot be summarized. And Facebook, as a medium, has propagated that. You know, Facebook we know, Twitter we know, it's an amplifier.
Yeah.
What is happening is someone just picks a little snippet of information and sticks it there. And because it's shareable, it goes around and that becomes the perception.
Yeah. So this is where, absolutely. So this is where
creating the attention from the real issue. We have to talk about the past 10 years.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think this is where it's quite critical that the people who are tasked with the job of speaking out should speak out when these things come out, because I think, Vanessa, you talked about how lies can grow legs. But if these things are sorted out as soon as they come out, perhaps we wouldn't be talking about these things. Now, I would like to pass this one on to the Honorable, because Lazarus is addressing you. Honorable, I'm so shocked that Mr. Munsanje could trivialize this issue, that the Minister of Foreign Affairs was in line by action. This is not right, and Zambians should not be taken for granted. Zambians voted out the PF on the basis of that the PF looted the country without any remorse. So before the Honorable answers that question or comments on that, I think it's also important to know that we've been scarred. We were used to a lot of corruption taking place, like the fire tenders, the honeybee scandals, like huge, colossal amounts of money just snuffed out of ministries. So when any little thing comes up, and I think the Honorable alluded to the fact that when there's no scandal, as Zambians, we seem to be itching for a scandal. So we need to wait for evidence before we actually start making a big deal out of something. And this is not to say that nothing happened with Honorable Kachabo, but just as a disclaimer. Honorable, would you like to comment on Lazarus's statement?
Yes, thank you so much, Linda, and thank you, Lazarus. I get what Lazarus is indicating there. I'm not trivializing the matter at hand, but I'm basically stating the fact here, to the fact that, there has been no reported loss, like Patrick was explaining just a while ago. When we had the issues of fire tenders, there was clear reported loss to say these fire tenders have been bought at $1 million, and they are being insured at 250,000 kwacha. So everybody was wondering, why is it so? Because that doesn't match, So there is a clear loss to the country. Talk about the medicines, the issue of medicines. There was a clear loss. 17 million was paid out, and out of that 17 million, we found expired drugs and condoms with holes and all that kind of thing. Up to now, we're still suffering the effects of that 17 million. With the shortage we have had of drugs in the hospitals is because of the 17 million which went into a hole, And then we had another scandal of speed cameras, which were put by a private company, was given access to our information. No wonder we're having these crimes going up, because all our information in the country was shared through private companies who were dealing with the speed cameras. A private company was able to get state money from you and me on the road and go and bank it into their personal account. They were able to send you a text message or an email or something to say you owe this and all that. That was a serious security lapse where private individuals had the information of all of us as Zambians and the like. So we are not trivializing anything. What we are bringing out is to say, when Honorable Kachabo went to Sinoma. I've been to Sinoma myself.
Mm.
I mean, what offense did he create? What loss happened to the country? There is no reported loss to the country at all. So there is no actually any loss. So there is no crime. There is no corruption because, there is no verification, independent verification to say, this gift bag, we contained this and that, other than what Honorable Kankubo was able to display. He was able to display what was in there, in the gift bag. This is what was in the gift bag. And all of us have received gift bags here and there. And there is nothing beyond that. So we saying we just not create a storm out of a teacup because there is no issue there. We're supposed to be focusing on the bigger things that are going to bring added value to our country and develop our country, bring water to Shangombo and the third roads in all our villages, because that's what we want. That's the development we are looking for.
Thank you very much. Now, very quickly moving on to a different topic. I want, especially actually Honorable Munsanje, to touch on etiquette, because there has been a lot of things that have been happening. And now by us dealing with these issues, we are not condemning any particular sects of the government, but perhaps just helping instead of just highlighting the problems. But I want you to think about how the government could be helped. They're very busy dealing with all sorts of spinning plates, and sometimes someone might just hear a thing that is spoken about and then it clicks and they think, oh, perhaps we shouldn't be doing this. So recently in the press, there has been cases of members of parliament or permanent secretaries buying their spouses a car, and they're excited. They post it on social media and people start accusing them of corruption. Now, what do you think people who are close to the government or working at State House, for instance, what do you think the protocol should be? Should you be a public person, even if you were a public person before being appointed to your current position? Are you allowed to live your life, so to speak, just be yourself and speak freely? Honorable.
Yeah,
and more importantly, do you get any training on how to be a honorable or how to behave when you've been appointed?
Well, I think the training we had was basically how to be a ruling party by the veteran Honorable Vernon Johnson Mwanga, who is my uncle. So he had a training with us as members of parliament and with the cabinet and the president. So
and that's it.
Yeah. But the rest, of course, we have to. We live in a country of values and ethics, and our culture also plays an important part. And of course, there is the ministerial and the MP's code of conduct, which requires us to declare our assets, and we all did go through that process in the first month of being MPs. So we declared our assets and delivered them to the Chief Justice's office. So all those measures that basically regulate one's behavior, because there are a number of ethical issues that one has to follow and the like. So I would say in our culture, generally, despite the excitement that comes with new life, new things, and also the excitement of social media, I think one has to, apply some good level of judgment in the area of how much you want to expose some of the things to the public. I think there is no harm. Traditionally, for example, when one bought their first car, you would invite your relatives to come and celebrate, or when you moved into your house and the like. Yeah. I think I remember for my elder brother who I saw, the first car he bought, my grandma had to put water in her mouth and spill it on the car and dressing the car and all that kind of thing. And maybe as a family, you in the modern times, applying it now, as a family, maybe you might want to capture that kind of ceremony and share it on your family group and the like. But we don't expect it to be a national issue, that it should go to the entire nation. So I think there has to be an expression of morality there, where you celebrate carefree, knowing that you are a leader and knowing that you are also an example to others, and you also there are others who may not be able to get these things, and it may rub them wrong or the wrong way. So one has to really express a very good level of judgment where in as far as these things are concerned. And for me, it's something which I would not really go about to show off. I would want to ensure that one remains humble and is able to do things the way they should be done. For example, we're looking at this Easter period. We had a wonderful period. Myself, we distributed blankets to 200 families in my constituency with the mayor and a few and the DMMU colleagues. And the president showed us the highest level of humbleness because during this Easter period, he went to visit his relatives, including his mother, and he was basically working on his farms, catching up with his family members. I mean, having been in the campaign the last 1 year, probably from August, he has not had time to touch base with the family members. But he showed us humbleness, that you have to go back to your roots, show respect to everybody. I heard him in one video. Somebody was asking, where is this person? And he was answering in our local language, Tonga. You're saying, what do you go out? So he was just part and parcel of his family. And that's the way it should be. That's the way it should be. It should never go beyond that. No. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chilufya, etiquette. Are you seeing sufficient etiquette in the big house, in cabinet, amongst the presidential aides, the ministers, permanent secretaries? If not, what do you think should be done to ensure that happens? Or is it even necessary? Shouldn't people just be allowed to live their own lives?
No, yes or no. The fact that Honorable Munsanje is a public figure, I think there should be a way, there's a difference between the way a minister and myself should behave in public. I'm not saying in a bad way, in a good way. Say I buy a very expensive car, I can show it everywhere, even on movie TV, nobody cares. But in a country where there's so much hunger, there's so much joblessness, people don't have money, and then as a permanent secretary, you go and buy a car for your wife, and you want the whole world to know, then that's trouble.
He was just excited, maybe just sharing
that's
a moment.
The thing, yeah. But yes, it is. But again, is he showing empathy to people who are suffering? Look at this guy. He's just been and some people might perceive that as corruption. It says, look at this guy. He was driving a bicycle. Just 2 months into his appointment as a permanent secretary, he's now buying a brand new car, which is not correct.
No.
But I think there should just be a way, when you are a civil servant, because you are a public person, just like the issue of Kakubo. People are talking about Kakubo. If it was me who went to buy cement like that, nobody would have talked about it. But him is a public person, and people want answers. And the fact that there's been corruption in the past, people perceive that to be corrupt, to be maybe there is corruption, and yet there is no corruption. So so public people or servants, civil servants, they just have to be careful the way they behave in public, and they should have empathy also to the people
they're serving. Thank you very much. And also, it's worth bearing in mind that once you have a job, a secure job, you can go to the bank and get a loan. You can afford to buy a car for yourself, perhaps even buy a small piece of land. So we shouldn't always be quick to judge when we see someone buying something for themselves or their family. I think like I said at the beginning, we really have been burnt by the the previous regime, that everything now is looked at very suspiciously. Very quickly, Mr. Bimbe, any thoughts about etiquette?
I wanted to add that people had the gratuities also there. So people who had their gratuities, the number of people got their gratuity afterwards. And if you change jobs and the like, you could afford. So let's also bear that in mind.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Mr. Bimbe, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, my thoughts, it's been exhausted. I think it's all about judgment. And also that thinking, what am I doing? How is it going to be perceived? I think that needs a little bit of training. Of course, there is excitement, but there needs a little bit of training.
So training
to that effect.
Yeah.
A register of interest could be also another way of dispelling some of these things, where anybody can go and see what is happening. If somebody buys a car, they register it in the register of interest, how they got that money. I can understand it's private business, but however, as Wachirufia said, these are public figures. The other thing I want to dwell on is also this perception, misinformation. We need, and this is something that I've observed even from previous time, we don't have a single source of truth.
Yeah.
What I mean here is that if we look at most government in the UK, USA, Canada, every decision, everything they do is published on a single website. What we always get in Zambia, unfortunately, are press statements. Press statements are opinions, right? Those are opinions based on a certain slant of the truth. The truth is in the data, is in the background information. That is never published. If you go to HMRC here, you get a press statement about inflation or whatever, you see every background information. Yeah. Why is that necessary? It's because as people who've done research, I think Hon Munsanje would agree with me, we can have the same data, but different methodologies producing different results.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So you allow other people, even our researchers in universities, they are just there. Data from government is hard to find. Us in the diaspora, we're even lucky. We know more of what is going on in Zambia than people in Zambia. That is really, really needed. We can't have this proliferation of website for each ministry. For what? Just have a single place. This is where the truth sits. If you see something on Facebook, it's already there on the website with all the background information.
Yeah.
That way, you're going to dispel some of this nonsense that goes on.
Thank you very much. Now, the last topic that I want us to look at, and this has been sent to me by a group of Zambians in diaspora. They're a bit concerned about the lack of transparency. The diplomatic positions are coming about. They have said that there's no general place. Again, it touches on what Mr. Bimbe was talking about. There's no central place, so to speak, where people can go and have a look at these jobs that have been advertised. So the outlook on the whole situation is that people who know people, they're getting informed that there's this thing going on. Now, I'm not sure if Honorable Munsanje, you are in a position to help us with this one. Is there a hub? Is there a central hub where people who are interested in particular specialist positions, or perhaps just consultancy? Because I know a lot of people in diaspora have offered their services. They don't want a job per se because they are quite content with what they're doing, but they want to offer their services to help their country. Perhaps in the Ministry of Information or Ministry of Health, we've got people like Mr. Nason Bimbe, who lives not very far from where I live, but he's doing incredible things. He's a specialist in his field. And perhaps not him per se, but other people like him would like to offer their services to this incredible government. Is there a hub where they could just go have a look at the information and sign themselves up?
Thank you so much. I would say maybe starting with the people in the diaspora, that of course your contact person is always the embassy, and in the embassy there is all types of attaches.
What Chilufya is saying now.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's your first contact is if we are out there. But if you are in the country, definitely one has to be able to get in touch in the ministries. All the ministers are available, and their offices are open door policies for most of the ministers. I have not heard of any minister that chases away our people. So people are free to go to the right ministries and be able to visit them and basically sell themselves to the minister, the permanent secretary, or the PA to the minister should be able to help. And also from the party point of view, our office of the Secretary General is available, and it can also be able to be a contact point for anybody that wishes to, have their services taken. But may I also add that on the issue of the diplomatic jobs as such, I think people again are hyped because there is high expectations. The School of Diplomacy, as it is called, there in is it Ridgeway, Kawata area. That school offers courses on diplomatic relations and rated to those who have been nominated and those who have not been nominated. So they have got their own courses which they run on diplomacy and the like, and the number of people will go there to do those courses just to prepare that maybe they want to learn diplomacy, or that maybe in future they can stumble on such a position and the like, as you know, improving one's chances. So people go there, they learn, and they graduate normally. And this time around, we've got people who have been within line ministries, and security wings. They also have to send their people into these embassies. We've got security attaches and trade attaches and the like. These come from line ministries. So the line ministries have selected some people who have been undergoing some of the trainings and the like. And because people are expectant that they are looking for positions of ambassadors and the like, they think, well, we should be there and the like. No. There is also the ones from the line ministries who are going, who are professional officers, just going to take up these positions in their professional manner and the like. So we must understand that aspect and know that this is what is going on. And I think when the right time to announce the positions of the ambassadors and the other political appointees comes, the president will make those announcements, or announcements will be made through his office at State House. And then, of course, they also have to undergo the same trainings and the like. So we basically seeing a situation where what I've seen recently, that people have been in a hurry to try and get the news out, on who is ambassador, who is not, and what they found there is actually people who are being trained for professional reasons and the like. So, in terms of positions, Patrick, you're saying no, but there are various avenues, and I think the hub in this case is the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. That is the hub where we should be going if we want to get to these positions.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chilufya, you've heard.
Honorable Munsanje, I'm not saying no to... what I was saying is, you telling me to go to the embassies.
Okay.
I'm telling you, if there are places where nothing happens, is Zambians' mission here in the UK, everywhere.
The new dawn is going to change that.
I hope this government will change things, because
exactly.
if you look at all those people Lungu brought in 2016, they're just drinking vodka there. So, but my point here is, this is what Bimbe was talking about. What we need is e-government. E-government.
Yeah.
where all the info, because if you look at what Kakubo sent to Parliament regarding the diplomats who are training, it was misleading. So they had to issue another statement. Second statement. So to clarify that no, those people are trained are these, but the first statement was misleading. It was saying they're training diplomats and attaches and press attaches. So, but Honorable Munsanje, we need one place, a website where all that information is, so that when people hear rumors, because the problem which is there is when it's like the propagandists, they will drop something, and if there is nobody explaining, there is a gap, there is a vacuum there. People will speculate. So something needs to be done. We need an e-government. All the information is there. If I hear that they are training people to be ambassadors, I don't even need to phone somebody. I can just go on the e-government and check under. I can even type ambassadors, or and then it will give me that information. That's what we need.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, it's quite shocking that it's nearly midnight in Zambia and people are still hooked on, which is fantastic. Nishi na Zambia tamlala. Mylon Pamande.
We have a job to do.
It's too much kachepa in Zambia, Mrs.
No, Honorable is right. We've got a job to do. People have rolled their sleeves and they want to work and they want to get the right information. We're very grateful that you are still hooked, despite the fact that it's nearly
and
midnight.
Then, Mrs. Banks, can I say something also? Just a second. You mentioned about the diaspora. If the new Dawn government can use the diaspora for consultant spaces and everything. I think when we used to have meetings with HH prior him becoming a president, he called the diaspora as the 11th province. And there is even a diaspora policy. But what my prayer is, HH as amongst the presidents I've known, not even Chiluba was supported by the diaspora, not even Lungu. HH has been supported by the diaspora. And if you look at the brain drain from Zambia into the diaspora and the exposure of the diaspora, I think HH has an opportunity to leverage that diaspora resource to the benefits of Zambians. They can come there as consultants. You don't need a British consultant when you've got Mr. Bimbe.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Thank you. Now, I think we're gonna have to wrap it up. Last sentiments. I want you to think about what has happened in the past few weeks. The president has had some downtime. He was on holiday. I want you to think about one positive thing that you have seen that has been happening in the New Dawn government, or something that the president has embarked on in the past, shall we say, past couple of months. I will start with Mr. Bimbe, and make it a minute, please, so that we can close promptly.
The question was?
So you have missed your slot. You have to be awake.
Was it about
I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you. Have a little think, Mr. Chilufya. Go for it.
I didn't hear the question neither.
You have missed your slot as well.
What was the question? What was the question, by the way?
Honorable Munsanje, you've got all the gentlemen's time. You and I are going to converse about President Hakainde Hichilema's lovely Easter break and what has been happening the past couple of months. So he's had some guests in the country. What happened? Any positives to take out of President Kagame's visit and his holiday? Make it 3 minutes. I'm going to give the gentleman 1 minute for not paying attention.
Yeah, thank you. I think positives from the visit by President Kagame. That was an excellent visit, and His Excellency President Hakainde Hichilema was an excellent host. he demonstrated high level of statesmanship,
Mm-hmm.
and the whole visit was really, really well choreographed and enjoyable. It was very enjoyable to see the two leaders, two very serious leaders in Africa who are about development, who are about changing lives, and who are about quality. And so it's there is a saying that show me your friends and it shows me where you're going. And I think that's the lesson we picked from that visit, that the first international visitor to be accepted by President Hakainde Hichilema to come to Zambia was President Kagame. And he came and he basically had excellent trade deals which were signed to increase the trade in terms of immigration, in terms of agriculture. You know, for us people in southern province, we live on agriculture. That's beautiful. Markets, opening markets between the two countries. So the 7 agreements that were signed are an excellent milestone towards our vision of making this country great once again in terms of both trade, agriculture, and also in the livelihood of our people. And before that, we had the funeral of late Excellency Rupia President Banda. And again, President Hakainde Hichilema showed excellent statesmanship hosting that funeral. You know, it united the country, mourned very well, and that showed leadership. And of course, trending right now is the release of the CDF money, this Constituency Development Fund, which under PF was either being stolen or never received at all for the whole year. And for the first time, 6 million is released, which would have taken us under PF 6 years for us to receive it. It was going to take us 6 years to receive it. We have received it for 3 months. And this is the best of its kind because it has decentralized this country and is moving the decentralization talk to fruition. Now the communities have got the power to decide and say, we want a borehole here, we want a footbridge here, we want a sports field here. They can make those decisions and recommend. That is the best and the cherry for us as a country to be able to basically pluck and be able to eat this cherry by having the CDF, for which it was going to last 6 years in 3 months.
Thank you very much. I've got Muyunda on my Twitter feed saying, I once called the embassy and the person who answered the phone sounded like I called a house, which was a bit bizarre. Martin Sekeleti says the topic is interesting, and it's not gossip. Paul says we cannot sleep and leave this wonderful program. Edwards Sentimwava says we will never sleep. Wilson Chisenga says Datulala because of good informative programs like the one that you have. Lots and lots, which is quite fantastic. Thank you very much for that. Now, gentlemen, I hope you're not sleeping. Let's start with Mr. Chilufya. Kuzambe Tabalele, Ingaimo, what's your excuse? You are now, both of you are in England. You are now ahead.
Behind.
No, behind. So Zambia, it's nearly midnight.
Yeah, it's almost midnight. Yeah,
Exactly.
anyway, Zambians, Tabalala.
So,
Yeah, but
yes, very quickly. Positives.
The positives is Kagame's visit was very instrumental, was strategic. You know, in the sense that the first presidential visit to our country is a president from Africa. And there are a lot of good things happening. But Bimbe would agree with me in terms of technology, in terms of data. This is a country African country, which has attained the e-government. What we are talking about, e-health. You know, they are using drones now to deliver medication to the rural areas. This is what Zambia needs to learn from this country. But it's good that he came here, and obviously by President West Vakaya Kona Vokulia, so that we start learning what this country is doing, so that we can also do it in Zambia. And then Honorable Munsanje mentioned that some agreements were signed, 7 of them, and which is very good for Zambia, especially tourism. A lot of Rwandanese would be coming to Zambia for tourism, which is good for our country, for jobs. And then the president going to on Easter to his village, that was fantastic. That was good. But if you look in from the past, all the presidents who have gone to holiday on Easter, when they come back, it's white gloves. When Kaunda goes to Mfue on holiday, when he comes back, they are reshuffles.
Nishbala wela nabazanda.
Nabazanda. So I don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. There might be some white gloves.
I said positives. Yeah.
Yes, there might be white gloves tomorrow. Over to you, Bimbe.
Yeah. Again, I'll also talk about Kagame's visit. I can happily say that because I had an opportunity of working in that country for some time. I've seen what they've done. One thing that I've saw, which I think our government could emulate, is this holistic approach to development. I know in the old government, there was this famous word, which I ended up hating, called multi-sectorial. Right? Now, I'll give you an example. It started when Kagame said, we are going to be a premier conferencing center in Africa, right? That's a bold statement. That's a vision. Out of that, there came, what do we need to achieve that noble goal? We need proper conferencing facilities. We need to be able to accommodate people, number of beds, which means hotels. We need to move people around to see our gorillas and whatever, improve tourism. We need to move people into the country, out of the country. Rwanda Air was created. We need the technology to do that. That was created as well. If you look at health, they are using a product from Babylon Health. It's an AI-driven thing. It manages to have been adapted for Rwanda. So I hope my government would do that. In terms of tax, the organization that I work for, and I managed that website for them on tax, at Institute of Development Studies here in the UK. They've done fantastically well. So that's the positive. Even their land management system, where I helped into creating the knowledge management system for that.
Okay.
You can get your title deeds from your village within a short period of time. So there is a lot to learn from there. The other thing is just the quality of visitors that the president had was amazing. And I like that, as Honorable Munsanje says, show me your friends, I'll know what you are up to. So that was good. In terms of leadership, the way the funeral was managed compared to the other one, which was really supposed to be done well for our founding father, it created problem. The other thing that I'm talking about also is the word hypocrisy. How does hypocrisy look like? Hypocrisy looks like this. People call sovereignty as a way to deflect from being criticized. We are a sovereign state. We used to hear that a lot. Diplomats were no-go area for opposition party. Today, we have Lusambo. You have Zayelo going to meet diplomats.
Zayelo, who's Zayelo?
Is how hypocrisy looks like. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well,
and I wanted to add 2 items, Linda.
Sure. Go for it.
Two items that may have skipped people's minds. One is the on the corruption crusade, recover and the like. We recovered the 65 million plus and the like. And I think the good side of that was that money, we saw a ceremony and it was given to the Ministry of Education, and it went straight to pay for 2,700 plus scholarships for vulnerable children who were thrown out of university, who were not going to get university education. But because of this money that was recovered from the corruption fight, these kids, our young brothers and sisters, are now university students at UNZA, 2,700 plus. Amazing. From that money recovered. That's a huge milestone also. And if we take the corruption fight continued like that, recover more and more, we can be rest assured that in your village where there is no boho, we will put a boho because money would be found to, to fix that boho or put a water. Actually, don't even now with the solar and the like. Another thing that is actually trending right now is the IMF World Bank meetings in Washington. I think those meetings are very significant to the future of this country because this country was left broken by the PF. They had wrecked the economy completely, and the fact that the lenders have been able to meet and agree on the future deal for this country means a lot for this country as to where we're going. That is the deal that is going to bring about resources for us to re-engineer the economy back on track and then to get things moving and basically put up the gains for the future that we need to build from now. So that is also key and trending. And it's also down to the leadership of His Excellency, the economic team he has put of Dr. Stumeko Musogotwan, Dr. Kariaria, and the ST. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Now, Zambia, you've heard it all. You've heard from the incredible Honorable Munsanje, who is very techie savvy. Down there in the Dioles of Southern Province, I actually would love to go there. I've never been to Southern Province. It's embarrassing to say. I would love to come and visit and see what you're doing, because I've had literally hundreds of messages from viewers about the incredible things that you're doing. So job well done, sir. And if you could be on some team that could be going around different constituencies just to give them tips on how you are getting these things done, because some constituencies are complaining that there's been some really bad teething problems. I think perhaps more than just teething problems. But my guess is it's due to the fact that it's a large amount of money. People have never actually known how to manage such a colossal amount. But my guess is the problems are equally colossal. So you can, they just need a blueprint on how to manage the finances that has been availed to them. Now then, Zambia, you've heard it all. It's been an incredible program. Things that you might want to take away from tonight's program. Don't worry so much. I think as Zambians, we worry so much. We're all constantly looking over our shoulder. Who's stealing money? Who's doing what? I think we just need to learn to trust one another for just a little bit. Let's just give this president at least just 3 years. 3 good years of less whinging. Let's just support him, make sure that he focuses on important things. And the people who are working around him, please pull your socks up. We do not say these things to castigate you, but if the president is going to have to be coming out, correcting this, talking about mistakes that have been made in your ministries every 5 seconds, going to check on people, it's going to derail him from the business of running the country, business of negotiating deals for us. So if you have been in a position, my golly gosh, just pull your socks up and get on with the job that has been tasked to you. The things that a lot of other people have shown concern, we are not trivializing anything. allegations of corruption. I'm sure the president has heard and he knows about this. It will just be interesting to see what actually happens tomorrow. Personally, I think it would be such a shame if he focused so much on the Milingo deal and the Kachabo incident, because there are a lot of more important and progressive things that he could be spending his time talking about. Now then, this has been a very unusual presentation of the Linda Banks Show on TV Bakwetu. And thank you so much.
Say one more point, one more point, because I was interested in what Honorable Munsanje talked about, CDF. I think we are doing a fantastic job, and I want to probably aid you to work with Smart Zambia to create some sort of tools to help you put this information in one place, some sort of a repository, so that, I know, some of these projects might work, some might fail. We need to know what works, what doesn't work.
Mr. Bimbe, I would suggest you put it in writing and in the background. Either you forward it to me, I can forward it to the Honorable Minister. We can finish it off.
That is good. And the key one is peer learning. There ought to be a mechanism to allow peer learning among constituencies.
Would you be able to put that in writing? Sorry, I have to press on time. We all have jobs to go to tomorrow, and I've got lectures the whole day from 7 o'clock to 6 p.m. It's been an amazing conversation, and we can actually come back, because I know, Mr. Bimbe, you've got so many incredible ideas. I would actually suggest put it in a bit of a leaflet, all these ideas, and forward them to the Honorable Minister. There's an incredible Zambian who lives here in the United Kingdom called Martin Kalungubanda. He's brilliant at this sort of thing. So we can have a look at what he does, condense this into some sort of booklet, and pass it on to the other leaders in different constituencies. And that will save Honorable Munsanje's time. Instead of going around different constituencies, those leaders perhaps could just read the information that has been produced. Right, where was I now? Before Mr. Bimbe rudely interrupted me with very important information, though.
Very interesting,
I know. You are mindful of ideas. And I think it will be important for us perhaps to do another program where you can break down all these great ideas that you have. And I'm sure the Honorable Member of Parliament will find that very useful. Now then, we're going to have to call it a day. It's been an amazing, amazing conversation. So we've talked about various issues to do with what is going to happen tomorrow at the press conference. Obviously, we're speculating. We talked about the Milingo deal, what the president is going to say. Did the president cut a deal? IMF debt restructuring, what's going to happen? Has it been stored? Are there teething problems there? And we also talked about the security of the country, and Mr. Bimbe quite rightly said we need some data. Has something changed, or is it just the fact that we have social media, so problems are being highlighted? And on the kidnaps, I would like to hear an update personally on what the outcome has been. And on that note, I've been your host, Linda Banks, with my guest, Nason Bimbe, the fantastic specialist in computer science and data analytics, and resident accountant, Mr. Patrick Chilofia, and who knows, he may be going to some consular somewhere very soon. When he
Amen.
Amen, isn't it? And
Amen.
we were joined by this amazing Member of Parliament for a constituency that I can still not pronounce, Mbalala. Mbalala constituency, Honorable Joseph Munsanje. This has been a presentation of the Linda Banks Show on TV Bakwetu, and I will say good night till next time. God bless you, and God bless our country. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you so much.